That contrast turned the abstract phrase from coal dependency into the picture of an entire country built around one fuel. It reframed my questions from why is Poland not decarbonizing faster to how do you unwind physical system without breaking energy security and competitiveness.
Welcome to the International Business Conversations. My name is Dr. Arina Goch, and I am here today with a very special guest, Kamil Cyganowski, one of the former students of mine. Kamil, could you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kamil Cyganowski, and I'm a recent graduate from international business.
Today we talk about Kamil's dissertation, but not just dissertation. We're also talking about the way he used Bloomberg in order to find the data and some of the insights that could be helpful not just to other students, but also professionals. Could you tell us the title of your dissertation?
So the title of my dissertation is The Impact of the EU Green Deal on Polish Energy Sector.
What made you choose this topic, and what was the moment you realized that Poland's energy sector or energy transition was the story that you wanted to tell?
So the hook was the real investment decision news. One day I was scrolling Financial Times and I was seeing really compelling headline, which was about Samsung SDI looking for electrical vehicles, a battery factory plant near Gdańsk. As the EU Green Deal and emissions trading systems raised the bar for the carbon-intensive location. That frames a concrete question to me. So, do these policies make Poland future-proof, or do they quietly push investors towards the greener grid? So, this is my story moment came in when I mapped up the plan and I realized that behind each emissions numbers, there are factories closing, investors hesitating, and workers going through restructuring due to EU rules which are biting much harder on the systems that are coal-dependent, like Poland. So that mix of home country, EU pressures, and investors' decisions made me transform it from the abstract topic to the lived stories. So suddenly, that was not just about the climate policies, it was about competitiveness and job.
Kamil, can you please tell the viewers, why did you select Bloomberg as your main tool, and what did Bloomberg allow you to see that other sources or other data sets didn't?
Our dear viewers, I needed one consistent backbone for Poland and Germany. That's why I've chosen Bloomberg. Bloomberg map go function and power plant data set, as you can see on the screen, gave me geocoded maps for coal, gas, and renewables, including solar, wind, and hydro-powered plants, plus the fuel mix and the carbon intensity level that was built on the same definitions for both countries. Public sources could give me national totals, but not Europe-wide plant-level view where I could zoom from the continental to the single unit based on the type of fuel, capacity, status, and commissioning year attached. That was crucial for treating infrastructure not as a percentage, but as a geography.
What do the dots mean here? They represent the same thing, or are they different?
So the dots represent the clusters and the power plants depending on its source. So as we can see on the definitions and the legend at the very right bottom, it shows the breakdown that the purple dots are hydropower plants, yellow the solar ones, and blue the wind ones. So depending on the size and the color, we can see where the clusters or what powered energy, depending on the source and depending on the size.
Kamil, could you please tell us what was the first map that you saw that made you think, oh, this is the story? What did you notice and why was that important?
The first big moment was the coal plants map for Europe. So as we can see, Poland is a dense block of coal capacity lit up next to neighbors like Germany, France, and Benelux countries, which showing more diversified renewable heavy portfolios. It will extend the futures to the solar, wind, and hydro-powered plant. What stood out was not that just Poland had many coal plants, but they were concentrated and not balanced by the equivalent renewable clusters, unlike Germany, where coal sits inside the thick layers of wind, solar, and hydro portfolios. That contrast turned the abstract phrase from coal dependency into the picture of an entire country built around one fuel. It reframed my questions from why is Poland not decarbonizing faster to how do you unwind physical system without breaking energy security and competitiveness.
How did comparing Poland and Germany visually help you understand the scale of Poland's challenge?
Side by side, maps showed two neighbors under the same EU regulations and rules, but starting from very different energy level considering systems. So Germany with broad mix of renewables, gas interconnections and emerging hydrogen or biogas infrastructure, and Poland with much narrower portfolio built around coal. Germany's transition look more like rebalancing already diversified system, while Poland looks like rebuilding the system which was focused around one fuel while competing with Germany for the same green investments and supply chains. Even when Poland looks better on paper, for example, slightly faster improvement in energy intensity recently, the absolute gap and infrastructure deficit remain obvious on the map, and the visual made it hard to ignore.
Kamil, could you walk us through 2 or 3 maps that, when placed side by side, reveal something you couldn't see through the text or numbers alone?
First map is renewables inside the Poland versus coal. So let's have a look. So putting the coal plants map against a combined renewables map for wind, solar, hydrogen, biogas and biomass showed a clear imbalance. Dense coal in the center with renewables present but thinner and more scattered. It made it obvious why EU emissions trading system cost hit Poland so hard. Second, Poland versus Germany on wind and solar. The wind and solar layers revealed Germany's strong offshore and onshore presence compared with Poland's much thinner band along the Baltic Sea and fewer inland clusters. With similar natural conditions, that gap made permitting barriers and administrative complexity in Poland visible in a single glance. Third, plants versus restructuring cases. So overlaying energy intensity plants with closures, delocalizations and restructurings from the European Restructuring Monitor available on Eurofound showed that many affected firms sit in regions exposed to high electricity and carbon costs. It linked dots between the map and the narrative, not random exits, but firms reacting to a specific cost and policy geography.
Which insights from the maps shaped your interpretation of investors' decisions, such as closures, delocalizations, or expansion?
Seeing where carbon-intensive plants cluster helped explain why firms like GE Power of FC Powertrain struggled. So they operated in a system where electricity is both carbon-intensive and increasingly exposed to the rising emissions trading system costs. So the restructuring was not really about global competitiveness, but it was about local energy risk. The localizations to places like Morocco or China looked less abstract once you saw that Poland's coal heavy mix and slowed renewable rollout reduces long-term cost visibility from the investor's perspective, which compared to locations that either have cheaper energy or cleaner and more predictable grids is quite obvious answer. The maps pushed my interpretation away from investors are just living towards investors are trying to move to rebalancing systems where the transition path is clearer and the energy costs are easier to manage.
What did you learn about Poland's energy infrastructure once you started layering the maps together? Coal, wind, solar, hydro, gas.
So let's start by layering the maps and showing what was the rationale behind it. So layering coal, wind, solar, hydro, and gas showed Poland as a country where coal is still the backbone, gas is relatively underdeveloped, and renewables are present but fragmented compared with Western Europe. It is a stool with one very strong leg but several weak ones. That made clear that Poland does not just need more renewables, it needs diversified portfolio, similar to Germany mix of renewables, gas, to support a more flexible, lower carbon system that investors can trust. The composite map are pointed to physical opportunities, coastal and border regions, which we can see this map. So coastal and border regions with some wind and hydro presence could be transition hubs if backed by better rules, grid investment, and targeted foreign direct investment. Those are the kinds of hotspots I tried to highlight. The biggest surprise was not counting coal plants alone, as it does not tell who is the best prepared for transition. As we can see, Germany got many plants too. Even we can say that having much more coal plants than Poland. However, yet manages lower carbon intensity and smoother transition because of the sheer diversity and density of the renewables and alternative infrastructure. That shifted my conclusion. Poland's fundamental problem is not coal on its own, but the lack of credible replacement system in terms of policy, infrastructure, and investment. This map shows that replacement system is far more mature for Germany. It also reframes investors' behavior. Many firms are not fleeing climate policy in general. They are moving towards systems where the transition path is better mapped out. That insight is exactly what I'm trying to embed for the Central Europe. Further idea to develop my dissertation from the student project into something more tangible and creative is plugging it into professional energy and climate workflows, especially using the data from Bloomberg. So my prototype dashboard essentially sits on the top of the data and tries to translate it into intuitive risk scores, scenarios, and decision-making proposals for investors and students. As we can see, there are AI-powered quantified outcomes, which are the metrics. We can filter out what country, which is mainly Poland and Germany, because that was the main topic for the dissertation project, and the project type, manufacturing, data center, renewables, or other, based on some quantified outcomes like cost difference, energy cost impact, transition risk, labor cost, or regulatory delay and reduction, which in case of Poland, grid permissions and administration complexities. It lead to key metrics overview when we can compare and benchmark both countries, depending on the source and depending on the nature of the foreign direct investment that potentially investors would like to make. Things like regulatory risk score, coal share in power mix, regulatory renewable penetration, FDI attractiveness are the key metrics that could let investors compare Poland and Germany into the same landscape, but under the different metrics. So further to that, we can compare countries like maps side by side to make more clear conclusions regarding the efficiency and strategic insight. So what those comparisons, key metrics, and quantified outcomes leading to. So as a proposal, for example, Poland coal dependency creates opportunity. Transition risk will help company or investor estimate where the transition path is clearer and when the long-term cost visibility is better for the risk mitigation and financial planning. Cost arbitrage opportunity, grid modernization investment wave, or regulatory complexity versus stability is something that could be considered as well. And decisions to produce Thesis, for example, locating green manufacturing facility, renewable energy investment allocate data center location strategy, portfolio risk assessment, and strategic partnership evaluation is something that could be achieved analyzing the following metrics and quantified outcome.
If another student would want to do a visually based research, for example, using maps with Bloomberg, what would you tell them?
Maps let you read country in layers, infrastructure, policy exposure, investors' behavior on the same canvas. This is very hard to achieve when comparing text or spreadsheets alone. And it changes the kind of question you ask. Advice would be to start with a simple but sharp question. For example, where are the things and how does they shape the risk? Then build a small set of clear maps rather than hundreds of charts and spend time interpreting them side by side. Tools like Bloomberg give students three things that they usually lack: granular plant level data, consistent time series, and professional credibility. When you turn visuals into dashboards or teaching tools. In my case, that combination allowed me to bring my dissertation on another level and involve it in an idea that I'm working on now, which is Central Europe Energy Transition Dashboard that could live maybe in Bloomberg room or set itself as a decision support tool or teaching resource.
That is a fascinating addition to more traditional statistical or even narrative-based research, which here is the visual storytelling, where you can see our world for what it is. Thank you very much, Kamil, for this exciting podcast. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm sure that our viewers will enjoy it too. See you soon.